Unpopular opinion, incoming. If you're new here though, my name is Maddie. I've been living and traveling all across Mexico for almost 4.5 years. Currently, I live in Guadalajara. About 2 years ago, in 2019, I visited Mexico City for the first time. I didn't know what the hype was all about. I thought there was so many people, I felt so overwhelmed, the traffic was crazy, honking all the time, I thought it was too polluted. And really, I just didn't get it. Why are so many people obsessed with this place? Fast forward 2 years, and I go back again. In fact, I've been 3 times in the past 3 months. And in that time, I fell in love with the city. So I wanted to share some of my favorite moments that I've had on these trips and show you too what the magic is all about. Be sure to stick around to the end where I'm going to share a special surprise. And before we get started, please hit that subscribe button. So first, I have to start out with all the random and unexpected things that you will come across while being in Mexico City. I don't care what you set out to do, you are going to be surprised by the things you come across. I bought this adorable baby sunflower for 50 pesos while I was eating in the neighborhood Cuauhtemoc. Here, I was in a park in the neighborhood Polanco, and there were these really cool motorboats, very elaborate motorboats that you could rent and fight, it looks like. Another time, my friends Erica, Jesus, and I went to this restaurant, and at the end, they gave these sparklers out to everybody at the restaurant, and they played Queen, where everyone was singing at the top of their lungs, and also we pretty much died of smoke inhalation by the end, but totally unexpected nonetheless. Also, here's this. I go through a random passageway and enter what to me looks kind of like Greece with these whitewashed buildings. Here's a random, what I think is an Aztec guy that was walking around playing music, dancing for tips. Here is a beautiful and unexpected sunset that I saw when staying in Polanco. And I was able to see the lunar eclipse here on my last trip. Yes, you could see this anywhere, but I thought it was really special to experience it in Mexico City. Next thing I absolutely love is the art and murals you'll see all across the city. What I'm showing you here isn't even the tip of the iceberg of what you'll see everywhere, but my goodness, is it unique and gorgeous, especially this one. This is probably the biggest mural I've ever seen in my life. I don't even know how many stories this is, and holy crap, look at the colors. I can only imagine how many months or maybe years this took to paint. Next is the historic buildings and the culture. I don't have nearly enough footage of what would do Mexico City justice, but here's the Palacio de Bellas Artes, which is incredible. And on this, I often struggle with, should I record a video about this experience or should I just be present in the moment and enjoy it? I don't really know the answer, but in this case, over these past couple trips, I decided to put the cameras away, put my phone away, and just enjoy it. Just be there and enjoy the whole experience. Also, lately, I've been struggling a little bit with recording on my own and the safety issues associated with that, but that's another story, another topic for another day. Probably one of my favorite things in the entire city. This is Mercado de Artesanias Ciudadela, which has handicrafts from all over Mexico. I spent half a day here just walking up and down the aisles, and I could have easily spent more time, and I plan to go back again. Another thing that pleasantly surprised me about Mexico City was all the green spaces it has, all the parks, all the trees. You would think for such a big city that it wouldn't have that, but it really does. And I don't have any footage of this, unfortunately, but the biggest is Parque Chapultepec. It is a massive park. I've been there before. It's got a bunch of lakes and tons of things to see and do, or just relax and enjoy the hideaway of nature in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the city. Really recommend it. And it's probably no shock to anyone that I'm going to mention food. There are so many neighborhoods throughout Mexico City where you can walk down a street and you have like 100 different restaurants. Okay, maybe not that many. Lots of different restaurants to choose from, and restaurants that are allergy friendly for people like me as well. So I found multiple restaurants with gluten-free pizza. Delicious. This one in particular, it's from Farina in Roma Norte. Love, 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 love. Also found gluten-free pasta and other varieties of food as well. There's no shortage of amazing street food, like these gorditas here and quesadillas, which may or may not have cheese depending on your preference. One of my absolute favorites that I tried in Mexico City is this place Ryoshi, which has some of the best sushi, if not the best sushi I've ever tried in my life. I also found my way to this place called Cafebreria El Péndulo, and it's this massive library, 2 stories, where you could walk around, have a coffee, check out the books, I mean, it's huge. This place is so elaborate and I thought it was so cool. There's multiple locations throughout the city as well. There's also just a ton of really cool, unique styles of restaurants, like this one that had flowers everywhere. Flowers, paradise for me. I also went to this really cool rooftop bar, restaurant type of deal, which is on top of a hostel as it turns out. This place is called Casa Pepe and they have lots of different events. In this case, we were doing karaoke. Then of course you've got your Mexican food restaurants. Look at this. It's on fire! Super cool. I definitely love the street food though. I don't need fancy food all the time. So here we've got some delicious street tacos, which was awesome after a night out. I tried the biggest sope of my life. If you can believe this is a sope, I don't know how big, if you can tell, but it was massive and it was 2 meals for me easily. I also tried this super delicious meal when I was in Cuauhtemoc.
So here we have this muy fancy. Y guacamole, muy fancy también con chicharrón, yum. And the main event is the tuétano bone marrow with more esquites. My goodness, look at this beauty. Wow.
And some other assorted food. I don't think I've met a plate that I didn't like in Mexico City. Before I go on, I gotta throw in a quick note. I know that I haven't even scratched the surface of what there is to see and do in Mexico City. I haven't been to the best restaurants. I haven't done the best things, although what I've done I've really enjoyed. More on that coming up. But that's actually part of the charm to me. If I never wanted to eat at the same restaurant twice, I wouldn't have to. If I never wanted to do the same activity twice, I wouldn't have to. If I never wanted to live the same day twice, I would not have to. So although clubbing isn't really my thing, I'm not a super big night owl, I actually really did enjoy going to a few gay clubs. People are very welcoming and it was a fun time. I never felt in danger with my stuff, like somebody was gonna steal it from me, which is cool, especially after the recent experience I had in Guadalajara. So here's a few clips of that. Fun times. So as many of you saw in a previous video, I had a nightmarish tattoo experience getting my first tattoo in Mexico. Here's the final product after 2 months of healing. As you can see, where it was heavily scabbed, the ink pretty much lifted. There's parts where she didn't even tattoo either. You can see my bare skin underneath. Her technique was really not great, especially you can see here, there's parts where she didn't fill in the color and some parts that are super brown. Not great, but I didn't want that to be my only experience, so I went to a different tattoo artist for redemption. This is Verna Veneno, who did an amazing job on this armband. I'm absolutely in love with it. It's so beautiful and she's so talented. This is me getting my second tattoo with her, which is going to require 2 sessions, so I'll have to post more pictures or videos when that's completed. Check out my Instagram at Tangerine Maddie if you want to see updates like that. Truly though, there is no shortage of talent in this city, whether it's via tattoo artists or chefs or dancers or anything in between. I'm constantly impressed. For me, one of the most unexpected reasons why I fell in love with this city is the people and the connections that I've made. It was actually my really good friends Erica and Jesus that convinced me to go to Mexico City in the first place. They were there for a Latin music festival and they were like, oh my gosh, come, it'll be so much fun. And also I had this collab with Mex Talkie on the back burner that we were trying to make work. So that's how we ended up here. This is my very first night in Mexico City where I was meeting up with a bunch of people for the first time. We all had a blast. Here's me with Diego and Efra and Brandon, where we were recording our very first collab and a video where I was speaking only Spanish for a day. You should definitely check that out. I'm gonna link it right up here. You can also see here, a group of us went and experienced Xochimilco, which I will show you some more footage of that coming up in just a second. And here I was able to meet up with Heidi and Adam of Country Collectors. They're the coolest, sweetest, most down-to-earth people. I'm so happy we both accidentally happened to be in Mexico City at the same time. The same thing is true here. This is a guy named Franklin. This guy I met in Querétaro. He actually lives in Guadalajara and we both happened to be in Mexico City at the same time. Imagine that. And once again, totally unplanned, I was in Mexico City at the same time as Jim and Mai from Spanish and Go, so we were able to meet up as well. I love that this type of thing can happen in Mexico City. I always say that Mexico is so big and yet so small at the same time, but there have not been this type of serendipitous meetups that are completely unplanned. People that don't even live in Mexico or live in completely different states. that we happen to cross paths here in Mexico City. I love how that can happen. It's happened on every single trip of mine, and that is a huge reason why I've fallen in love with the city. And now for probably my favorite experience that I had in Mexico City, going to Xochimilco. It's here where you can rent these boats called trajineras, and you lazily float down these canals, although it can definitely be quite the party experience. They have speakers that you can rent, or you can bring your own, I think. You can buy food and drinks, or these beautiful headbands from the vendors in smaller boats that are going by. Although, when it comes to food and drinks, I definitely recommend bringing your own so you're not overpaying for anything. It was such a fun time though. You're laughing with people on other boats and cheersing with people going by. At one point, we even rented a mariachi band, which was such a highlight. I definitely recommend it. They played a couple of songs for us, and especially for Jeanette, because that day it was her birthday. We were dancing around, singing along, and the mariachi guys got a little crazy at one point, but I am here for it. All in all, it was just such a fabulous day. We all left with smiles on our faces. Thankfully, we were not scammed or anything because we went with Mexico City locals who negotiated the prices for us and navigated the whole way. Although getting scammed here is a huge possibility, so I recommend, if you can, go with a local, but also you can watch this video that the Country Collectors just made. I'll link it right here on their unfortunately scammy experience that they had and how you can avoid that. Thank you so much for watching to the end. As for that surprise I promised you, some background here. As many of you may have been detecting, I've been feeling a little bit unsettled in Guadalajara for a while now. I had truly hoped to make this my long-term home, live here, travel, and come back, but unfortunately I just don't think it's the right fit for me. What is the right fit? Can you guess? Can you guess by this video? Do you know where I might move next? Mexico City! So in just a few months here, something like 3 or 4, 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 or 17, I don't know, some amount of months I will be moving to Mexico City. I'm just in the planning stage right now. So basically it's not completely confirmed. I don't have an apartment picked out yet. If you know of a place, a good place, at least 1 bedroom, no studios in this area that I have selected here on the map, in this area only, please shoot me an email, and you can find that in the description. Please don't send me any emails that have to do with anything else besides business related inquiries, and this, I will not respond, I'm sorry. You can reach out to me on my other social media, Instagram at Tangerine Maddie, Twitter at It's Maddie Gold, Facebook at It's Maddie Gold, or facebook.com/It's Maddie Gold. And yeah, so that is my news. I'm pretty freaking excited about it because, as you can tell, I'm a little bit enamored with Mexico City. Before you go, I hope you will subscribe to my channel so that you can see upcoming videos that I have from Mexico City and other places that I travel and other things about my life. On the screen here is my favorite video that I made in Mexico City, a collab I did with my friends at Mex Talkie. And one more thing before you go. Gong that bell so you get notified the next time I release a new video, and I hope to see you there.